Thank you, Mazi. And you keep mentioning war, 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 war.
The Mazi, my name is Donald. Leave the Mazi. I don't know what Mazi means.
Okay, thank you, Donald Ekpo. I'm sorry. So we keep saying war, war, war. Even after the war, the negotiation will end up on the table. So why are we not looking
Yes.
at that option, right? Because no war ends without getting back on the table, and we are capable of going to the table to speak to advantage and get what we want. So we are going to use that platform versus going to war, because when war comes, our children will die, our mothers will die. It's usually the women and their children that will bear the blunt of it, and we are going to use the option that will favor our people at this point in time. Sister, please go
Peaceful
ahead.
resolution.
Peaceful resolution. Sister, go ahead. You're on mute. I mean, Sister, you're mute yourself.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you now.
All right, I was battling with my laptop. Thank you so much, Mr. Ekpo. We appreciate your contribution because it really explains a lot of things that some people are asking questions on. Indeed, as you can see, the stakes are really very high, both at the local scene where you have the recent US alarm, like Sister Mona said earlier on, how Al Qaeda and their partners have already penetrated. Because when US gives you a report they're about to penetrate, you know that they have penetrated because you could see that they're preparing, because the executive order that Trump released. Some of our shows before, when we're talking about US envoy to Nigeria, all that, they will have reason to do that. So the US is beginning to bring out reasons why they're doing what they're doing, so that you don't think that they're just waking up. They're giving you intelligence reports. So you see Al Qaeda already penetrating and dangerously moving towards the total extermination of all the indigenous peoples in that enclave called Nigeria. And at the international scene, where there is a serious threat and the global Islamic agenda, you can see how they're coming up with. You can see their plans and where they're going with it. So, Mr. Ekpo, can you please tell us what you think is the way forward? Is there a meeting point for all these victims and potential victims? Is there a common plan that can deliver all the peoples in this bondage, all the indigenous peoples in this bondage? Please, can you throw more light on this area for us, please?
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Before the reports from the United States intelligence services came forward, we already knew that Nigeria is in the index of failed nation states. Nigeria ranks 15 out of 177.
Mm-hmm.
So Nigeria is already a failed state, and it will get to a point that it will not just be a failed state, but it will be a rogue state. Like we discussed in one of our meetings, all these things are actually making our work a lot easier, because one of the reasons that we have to leave is because Nigeria is a failed state. Though initially it was because we were being oppressed. But when it comes to a point that Nigeria is a failed state and the people of a certain region say they want to leave because they don't want to continue in this failed state that is becoming a rogue state, it's a lot easier for the international community to come in and respond to the instigation for them to come in for a referendum or conduct a referendum for us. So, and another thing you need to also look at, when they say Al Qaeda is infiltrating Nigeria through the assistance of who? Is it not the same people that want to? They have an agenda. You can either call it the Fulanization of Nigeria, or you can call it the Islamization of Nigeria. We know what the Al Qaeda stands for, what they fight for. We know what they try to do. We know what the ISIS tried to get. They wanted to have an Islamic State.
Mm-hmm.
We know what Boko Haram wants. We know who is empowering Boko Haram. Boko Haram is being recycled, and we've seen a couple of reports or a lot of statesmen saying it. You know, you have Boko Haram members that are caught, and you are recruiting them and putting them back in the Nigerian army. So how well could you speed up the process of getting Nigeria to become a failed state? Because if you look at Nigeria, actually, if you check Google and say type and say you want to see example of failed states in the world, Nigeria is actually ranked with people like Syria, Yemen, as one of the example of failed states in the world because of all these kind of things. So for us, it's I wouldn't want to use the word an opportunity, but it also gives us more reason to continue in what we're doing, because we're looking forward to we're driving towards the force majeure that we are going to use to take down this constitution, and would I use the word stop everything operating under this rope of a constitution? Because if our constitution is not strong enough to protect us from these invaders, and you also know that when our government said we are giving people visas on arrival, it wasn't talking about people from the south or people from the west or people from Cameroon, southern Cameroon or South Cotonou. It's actually talking about people from the northern boundaries, borders. Because even before that was even said, if you go to Katsina, there is an open, there is like, like in our villages where you have an open space with one tree in the middle, and, I don't know if you have that, if you understand that if you can imagine that. We have different of those open spaces in the north, in Katsina, in Jigawa, where you have, I think Katsina, where you have just one single man, an immigration officer, sitting under a tree. Wow. And people are passing to the market, back and forth from up and down, and they're entering. So how do you control Al-Qaeda coming in? How do you control ISIS coming in? How do you stop Boko Haram or the X-Men or whatever form they are coming up, they are showing up? How do you know who is who? When it is what you actually want, when you actually pay them in the name of trying to make peace, and you pay them and empower them to have more arms than our national security operatives. Or when the national security operatives are actually having the supposedly reformed members of these same organizations working with them in uniform. So we've seen all those things. We know all those things. That's why we're speeding up what we're doing. We're actually supposed to, we were supposed to move into an extra gear early this year, if not for the COVID-19 issue that came up. And we are strategizing on that, and we are putting up later dates that will be done. So it's an opportunity in disguise, though we have to get out of this bubble as soon as possible.